Welcome back to Music Makers Live. Today calling in, we have Chef Pink DeLongpre. She's the winner of the Food Network show, Supermarket Stakeout. She's been on over 15 reality shows. She's been a head chef. She's a voice for the trans chef community. We're going to talk about all of that right now. Let's jump into it. Chef Pink, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you're super busy, but if you can, please walk us through your journey. How did you go from Crystal to being Chef Pink? Did you always want to be a chef growing up? Were you whipping stuff up in the kitchen as a little kid? Where did all this come from?
My dad was a abalone urchin diver in Santa Barbara, where I grew up, and my mom was a server and a bartender. So my babysitters were fishermen and chefs and servers, and so it was just water, eating fresh uni out of the shell, or hanging out with a bunch of cooks in a kitchen. So I was kind of born into it. And then growing up, I became kind of a wannabe artist in every way. I just wanted to do sculpture, and then I wanted to do painting, and then I landed on painting, and then I started selling all my work, and I couldn't handle the emotional loss of making something that was so emotional and then giving it away.
Oh yeah, totally.
And there was a lot going on in the world at the time, and I was kind of just floating around in space and not really knowing what to do. And so my ex was like, hey, figure your shit out or get out.
Yeah, exes have a tendency to do stuff like that.
So culinary school, and my first teacher was like, you've got a really amazing natural talent, and I want you to go start working in one of the best kitchens in LA. Wow. And I knew I was never going to do anything else. That was it. I was done. And it's been 22 years and still rocking it hard. And
that's so amazing. Did you, going into it, were you like, I want to cook Italian, or I want to specialize in French or high dining, or what did you have a vision going into it, or you're just whatever happens?
Well, I went in, my culinary school was cordon bleu, so it was French trained. And I knew, and I was a vegan. So being a vegan and going into French culinary school, they pretty much laughed at every comment.
Right. What do you mean? Oh yeah, people still laugh. Come on, 2021.
No, I knew that I wanted it to be connected with the food sourcing system. Yeah. My first restaurant was farm to table, and I've never done anything else, and I never will. It's so important to know where your food comes from and know how it gets to your plate, and really be conscious about the decisions that you make while you're eating. Totally. So that's really my driving force, is the ethos that I carry behind my food.
Interesting. Is there a particular ethnicity or style of cooking you enjoy cooking the most?
French, Japanese, Vietnamese, and Korean.
That sounds like a lot. Interesting.
I have to narrow it down.
Yeah, you had to narrow it down.
It's like me. It's I'm from Cali. I may be living in New York now, but Cali runs through my blood. So it's a real fresh, kind of come to the plate way of eating. So that's my style of choice.
What's the Chef Pink specialty dish? I'm sure there's multiple, but if I were to be like, all right, Pink, any ingredient, I'm gonna go get it right now from the store, what are we cooking?
I would say fresh pasta with peas.
Fresh pasta with peas. Interesting. Yeah. What's the sauce?
Butter and white wine.
Butter and white wine, so we'll have to get some vegan butter or some coconut. Yeah. Coconut and white wine.
Tattooed on my throat. Come on. Yeah, I'm actually doing a video. I've got some fresh morels that were brand you can only get them during the spring. You can only get them in different parts of the country. And so tonight I'm going to be making fresh pasta with English peas and morels with butter sauce, and I just can't I just want it right now already.
Yeah, I would not even have thought of that. Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, because you have an instinctual knack for cooking. I think I'm a decent cook, but then you cooked me potatoes once and you didn't use a pinch of garlic, and I tasted them and I could not believe those potatoes came from my kitchen. So, I mean, did that all come from culinary school, or do you think a lot of that came from growing up, with a lot of chefs in the house?
I have everyone laughs at me, but I listen to my ingredients. It's like when I'm shopping for something, I'm not never, but very rarely am thinking, oh, I'm going to make this dish. I just go and I find, like, if I'm at the farmer's market, whatever is the nicest, freshest, sometimes rarest stuff that's going on. Like when you've got wild ramps that are only available for 2 weeks out of the season, or morel mushrooms, same thing.
Wait,
like,
hold on. Did you say wild ramps? What's a ramp?
A ramp is like a mix between a shallot, garlic, and a scallion. So
what? That sounds
amazing. So it's so good. It's
a ramp, like ramp, like a skateboard ramp. Oh my God. That's something I need to look into. All right, continue. I'm loving this.
So I don't know. I just I listen to what calls out to me, and then, I have a really, really strong backbone and training, and I've worked for so many great chefs. And I've been working for so long that you instinctually and inherently know what's going to go together.
Right.
Just the having the courage to experiment with new things and new combinations, that you can find new stuff. Like if you stay within the box, you'll never figure out new stuff.
Like in cooking school, culinary school, are they just teaching you straight up dishes? Like this is creme brulee or whatever, I don't know, whatever it happens to be, and you just learn that recipe in the traditional way?
They teach you technique, basic sauces, basic pastry. And they're all like, this is the recipe. Do not color outside of the lines. And that's, I had a big problem with that, because I was always they're like, make creme brulee. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I make smoked hay creme brulee? And they're like,
right,
make creme brulee. I'm like,
so they're teaching you how to be a line cook or a sous chef or something?
No, you learn all of that through practice.
Got it. Well, I say that to mean they're not teaching you to be individual with your food, to be creative with your food.
Exactly.
They're teaching you how to do the recipe and just do it so we can move on to the next dish, it seems like. I
mean, it's cool.
Right, yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, they can't just be like, do whatever you want, because then it's like, how do they grade that also? It's like, come on.
Yeah, that sucked. Sorry, you failed this class.
Yeah, I don't like that pink bow you put on this breakfast burrito. That's crazy. So I'm just so fascinated by culinary school. How long does it take to go through that school?
It was a year-long program.
Just 1 year, and then after that, you go into being a sous chef? How does that work?
Oh no, you start at the bottom. You start at the prep cook. Usually you start. Well, what I did, I got interned at a restaurant that was chosen for me. But I also didn't make it all the way through culinary school. I only made it 6 months, and I was like, peace, I'm out of here. I'm going to go.
That sounds like every artist ever when it comes to school.
And I was actually pretty decent at it, but it wasn't my jam. I learned
that also sounds like every artist. Yeah. I was like, I was okay at it, but I had other things going on.
I had shit to do.
Exactly, I got stuff to do.
Learn in the prep cook, which is pretty much you learn how to dice stuff up.
Got it. Prep. You're doing all the prep work. That makes sense.
And then from there, you usually go to what is called garde manger, which means things that are cold.
Got it.
Like cold appetizers. And they parallel that with pastry, which I don't agree with, because I think pastry takes a lot of skill and art.
That seems like it'd be a little different.
Yeah, so you go from there, and then you become line cook, which you can either start on saute, on the grill. The grill is usually the last of what you do, because it's really hard to keep temperatures and timing right.
The last step before becoming a sous chef?
Yeah, as usually. Well, lead line cook, so you're making sure that everyone is doing their job, and then sous chef, and then either a chef de cuisine, and then executive chef, depending on what kind of environment it is.
Got it. So how long do you think it takes in each of those steps, or is it different depending on natural talent and where you're at and all types of luck and who you know? Does all that play into it like everything else in life?
Yeah, exactly. I was pretty, like, I put my head down and just ran as far as I could, 18-hour days, 7 days a week, just went for it so hard for like 10 years. So I got to be executive chef within the first 10 years of what I was doing.
Because that was going to be my next question. Even if you're like a prodigy like you, what is the quickest you can go from leaving school to basically being a head chef in a restaurant you don't own? So, I mean, 10 years, that sounds pretty amazing to get anywhere substantial like that, especially at the top of your field in 10 years. That's pretty amazing.
You can be an executive chef at a shitty restaurant immediately.
Right. Well, I mean, true. You could open a restaurant and be like, I'm the head chef.
And you're like, oh, wow, see you fail in like a year.
Well, yeah, you see them on Kitchen Nightmares, and it was like, I liked eating, so I thought I should open a restaurant. It's
people said I knew how to cook really well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you have to have that natural knack or interest to begin with, but there is a little bit more that goes into it than just deciding I'm going to take up a lease on a spot. So how did you go from being head chef to being on TV? Because you've been on over 15 reality shows. You won Supermarket Stakeout on the Food Network. So, I mean, talk us through that transition. Like, did a producer come eat in your restaurant one day and see you? Or like, was it social media? Like, or did you decide to go to an audition? Like, how did you transition from being a head chef to being a TV chef?
Honestly, I don't know. They found
I had this whole like well laid out question. You're like, actually, I don't know.
I was getting a lot of pressure from people that I knew, like when the Food Network first started getting really popular and Top Chef started, and like, and I was like, dude, I'm a real chef. I don't have time for TV. Like, this is I'm working here. I sleep in my cot in my office. Like, yeah.
Yep. It's real.
Yes, it's true. Like, hashtag truth for sure.
Yeah.
And then I had a kid, and then you're kind of your values shift, and so they kept calling, and then one day I got a call from Bar Rescue, and I didn't even know, like, I didn't know what the show was, like, a farm and had a kid, like, I was even busier than ever.
Oh my God. Do you remember who called you? It's okay if you don't, but my buddy worked on Bar Rescue. I wonder if it was him. Did a guy named Joe call you?
No.
That would have been too funny. Anyway, sorry.
I don't remember who it was, but I know all those cats.
Yeah.
And they were called, and they were like, hey, we want to pay you all this money to come work on the show. And I was like, okay.
That's
and then
awesome.
Started the ball rolling. And then from there, it was like, Cutthroat Kitchen. I was on the first episode of that ever.
No way. I've seen that show. I didn't. You're on the first episode? No way.
Yeah. It aired as the second, but it was the very first ever made
that they filmed. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I walked in there with like the biggest ego ever, and I was like, blah 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 blah, and got my ass sent home immediately, like first round.
That's okay. You made up for it later, because when we watched Supermarket Stakeout all together, I thought you were going to get nixed in the second round by the way you were acting while we were watching it. Not necessarily by the way it was playing out on TV. The way it was playing out on TV, it seemed like you were doing pretty well. But you're like, the way you were acting, it seemed like, oh, I don't know if she wins. And then all of a sudden you won. And we were like, no way. Like that. It was such a cool feeling to be with someone in the room without knowing that they're about to win this reality show.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. How did that come up? Was that also just, did they call you? Was that an audition?
Yeah,
like,
I haven't. I have not auditioned for anything. They've all been reach outs.
That's amazing. You're in the receiving mode.
After I lost, the producers called me back. They're like, "Hey, we want you back on the second season."
Wait, so you were on one season and then you came back?
I came back and then I won.
No way. Okay, that's amazing.
Like, losing another thing on TV ever. Right.
Yeah, you're like, no way, I gotta win this one.
Everything I do from here on out, because that was the worst feeling ever. Bottles of whiskey and like passed out at a strip club that night. It was pretty bad.
Oh my God. The night you won?
The night that I lost.
Oh, the night you lost. That's okay. Well, probably the night you won also.
Yeah, right. Except for I didn't.
Well, we had fun the night. We had fun at least on the replay. Well, I mean, you already knew, but we didn't know, so we had fun that night too.
Yeah.
That was a good time. What's coming up for you in the chef, TV, YouTube world? Tell us what's on the horizon for you. Starting a new YouTube channel, I think you were telling me. What's going on?
Yeah, gonna start a new YouTube channel. Gonna kind of turn the world on its head a little bit. I want to offer a culinary education for everyone to be able to participate in. I've got an intern that I'll be working with for the next 9 months, and
Amazing.
so we'll be live streaming the entire culinary course.
That's so awesome.
Super excited about that. We're gonna do some video, some recipe videos.
I was gonna say, I hope we get some recipe videos, at least some potato videos. Come on, everybody needs to taste those potatoes.
We'll go on field trips around New York and
Nice.
introduce places and do new things, and just kind of, after this last year, it was kind of like everyone that I know at least kind of had like a paradigm shift of like what mattered and what happened to move forward as to heal a soul and to like be a more whole human, that like we thought we had all this control that was really non-existent.
Right.
And so now it's all about really opening my heart and like teaching people about, not just food, but how to interact with other people in a kitchen. Kitchens are so known for being like mental health death traps.
Yeah.
It's so hard, and it can be so degrading for a lot of different types of people. So,
that's why I think Hollywood and chefs, there's a reason they started to overlap and everything. There's a lot of similarities in the path of trying to be an extremely successful chef in the same way it's trying to be, a very successful producer, actor, writer. There's a lot that you have to go through, a lot of work, a lot of long hours, rejection, holidays by yourself, a lot of stuff that you got to go through to get to some of those levels. But so very, very cool that you realize that you had to make a pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's cliche, but life really is too short.
Right.
Like to be grinding for other people's pockets. I want to be liberating people and like letting them know that it's okay to be, a queer trans person. Like I'm a queer trans chef. Like there's no visibility for that. And I want people
you're
to
the
know-
visibility. You've been on 15 reality shows. You're definitely doing everything you can, and definitely now with your YouTube, that's gonna help a lot more. I think the more people, that's why I've been bugging you for about 2 years now to be on YouTube, because I know that a lot of people are going to see you and be inspired by your story and be inspired just by you in general as a person, so I'm very happy that you're finally putting yourself out there where other people can see you and get to know you the way I know you, and I know it's going to help a lot of people.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'll leave a link down below to your YouTube channel. Did you have to deal with any of that being trans in the kitchen? Like, was there other chefs in the kitchen being like, what's going on here? Or was it never an issue? Like, can you talk us through some of that?
I always knew that there was something different about me. Like I've been queer as long as I've been alive, obviously, but I always knew that like I didn't fit into the gay and lesbian mold.
Right.
And so it took a lot of years, and there really wasn't a lot of terminology or a lot of people that there was like no YouTube videos you could watch about non-binary people.
For sure.
It was, if you were trans, you were either a trans man or a trans woman. There was no space for anything in between. It was very binary.
Right.
So it was never an issue for me in the kitchen, because I never knew what was different about me until the last few years. And I just kept it to myself, because I didn't really think anyone would understand. It's confusing for people that are not going through it themselves. But it's like, I want people to know that if you educate yourself as much as you can, don't be afraid to ask questions, as long as you like center the other person's comfort before yourself,
Right.
you know, and
For
just
sure.
be and be like, you don't say like, oh, so did you have your dick chopped off? Is that why,
Right.
and people do that and you're like, wait, what? Like, I don't ask you what you do with your dick. Like,
Right. No,
fine.
please. I get offended if someone asks me what the temperature is. I'm like, what? Don't you have a phone?
Like, Bam, what do I look like, a weather vane?
What do I look like? Thermostat.
And
That
then
makes
last month had top surgery, so now I have no.
now even makes more sense.
There you go.
Okay, so wow. So I mean, we can clearly, you're still healing. So I mean, what was that something that's been on your mind for years? I mean, or did that just start creeping up the last few years?
No, since I very first had breasts, they didn't feel like they belonged on my body, and I always felt uncomfortable, and I would cry when I had to go shopping because it didn't look like my body when it was looking back at me, and
Wow. Oh my gosh.
literally feeling like you're in the wrong body.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So now we talked about the other day, you said you're feeling a lot more like you now.
Yeah.
Which,
and I know that sounds so strange to say, but it's like, unless you've not felt true to yourself your whole life physically, like, and then you finally can look in the mirror and be like, oh, there I am.
Are you taking hormones or anything?
I am not taking any hormones at this point. I'm so anti-body hair. I want
Right.
like
Oh, that makes sense. That's funny. That is, yeah, I didn't think about that one. Oh, body hair. Yeah, oh my gosh. Wow. I feel like our relationship just went to a whole new level here.
Brother, every time we talk.
Every time we talk. Wow.
Yeah.
So are you done with your transitioning now, or is it never ending? Or like, are you good now? Like, what do you think? Where are you at in your mind?
Right now I'm calling it a journey, not a transition, just because I don't know where this path is going to lead me.
Got it.
I like to think that I'm pretty self-aware, but that like 10 years ago, I didn't know that you could be trans and not have bottom surgery and top surgery and fully transition to a man.
Neither did I until you just told me. I mean, maybe I'm out of the know.
Yeah.
OTK, baby, out of the know. But I'm happy I'm in the know now. Catching up, 2021.
Woke.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that you're happy. You seem much happier. And I'm happy that we were able to talk about this. It's crazy that it's in a format like this. Like, we've talked a million times probably in all types of scenarios about all types of crazy stuff, but we've never had this type of conversation. So thank you for being open and honest with me. Where could people find you? We're not done yet. We're going to talk about music, but if someone wants to ask you a question or, is going through something similar, what's your Instagram?
Chef Pink DeLongpre.
Do you mind if somebody out there writes you if they want to?
Oh, absolutely. Anyone and everyone all the time.
Cool.
Totally.
That's much appreciated. If you don't mind, we could jump into music for a little bit. I got a couple questions I like to ask everybody. Okay. Do you remember the first album you ever got in life? And do you remember what format it was in? A record, a tape, a CD?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, what do you got?
I got two at the same time, and they were cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper and Culture Club.
Oh, no way. Both very good. It's funny. Most people don't remember the tapes. A lot of people say there were tapes, but they can't remember them. That's awesome that you remember those.
Listen to those till they were threadbare, man. Like till they like get warped and like it's
yeah. Do you really want?
Yeah, my mom. Enough with the Culture Club. And
That's the best part of The Wedding Singer, when like Adam Sandler is like out in the back or something, and they're like, one more time, and like the backup singer starts to sing the Culture Club song again. Do you really want to hurt me or whatever? Oh,
Uh-huh.
I
Yep.
that's awesome. What's your favorite Culture Club song?
Shit. I'm really
That's a good one. That's a good one.
but you
Not to be on the spot, it's okay. I think Club Tropicana, that's a Culture Club song. Yeah, Club Tropicana, that's my jam.
and it is. But I do love Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? Like not to be that cliche, but
no, it's it's a hit for a reason. It's awesome. Yeah. There's a reason it's a hit.
I think a lot to that in junior high.
Oh man, it's too good. Do you remember the first concert you ever went to?
Yes.
What is it?
But I don't even know if you'll know who these people. Well, you being you might. The venue was King's Dominion in Virginia Beach.
First of all, I've been to King's Dominion and continue. I was there on a family vacation, riding rides. But
yeah. Mom during the summer.
Yep.
And it was Expose and Pretty Poison.
Oh, that's so good. Expose, what's their go-to song?
Change.
What is it?
I think Seasons of Change.
Seasons of Change. I'd love to.
Maybe that's like Belinda Carlisle or something, but
that's too good.
Two girl bands. One was like hair metal girl band, and the other one was like pop girl band.
Do you know how old you were?
I was 10.
You were 10? Do you remember the first concert you went to in high school? If you went to any in high school, sometimes it slips by people in high school for some reason.
I didn't really go to major concerts. I went to a lot of underground punk shows.
What? You weren't smoking blunts at Snoop Dogg? What do you mean?
I was like in the pit with Jello Biafra. Like
that was always the craziest, when Snoop, like once every 2 years, would come to my hometown and the entire stadium was just a hot box. There was nothing out. Like you couldn't even see Snoop. Depending on where you were sitting, you could not even see. And I remember being so blown away because people were just throwing blunts and stuff on the stage, and Snoop had like a guy just picking them up and putting them in a bag. I'm like, wonder if they trusted each one and just smoked them, or if they like opened each one, or if they just threw them away, or like, who knows? They probably smoked them, but
I guess to smoke.
Yeah, that would be my guess. They already just smoked them. Yeah. But yeah, those were the days. I saw
the reggae show, and it was the same thing. Like I almost passed out from being just so like secondhand smoke high. I was like, I gotta get some air.
Yeah. Secondhand smoke high. Okay, bro.
No, it wasn't at the time. God knows why I was at a reggae concert, not smoking.
Yeah. I wasn't smoking at the time. No, I get it. My first concert ever, I've told this before, but it was the Rolling Stones, and there was people smoking weed there, and I was with my father, and I was like 9. I asked my father, I'm like, what kind of cigarette is that? And he's like, oh, it's from another country. It's from another country. And I remember when I found out what it was, because I remembered that for some reason, and then I remember when I found out what weed was, I was like, oh, that's what was going on at the Rolling Stones concert. Do you remember your favorite childhood band? Like, was there a poster like covered? It was like Britney Spears secretly all over your room?
You know this one.
Tell me.
And Tough. New Kids on the Block, baby.
NKOTB? Oh, come on.
Yeah. You know I had my Mr. Don.
Who's your favorite?
Donnie Wahlberg, of course.
Donnie?
Yeah.
I love it. I was next to Donnie on the PCH in Malibu, and I was like yelling. He was just being chill.
I love you.
No, literally, like he was just by himself, like all blacked out Bentley or whatever color it was, some like the Bentley SUV and the Bentayga. And as soon as I realized it was him, I like was yelling I was more yelling at the person I was with. I was like, Donnie Wahlberg is next to us. Oh my god, I love it. the first time I ever met Mark Wahlberg is a story too. He like jumped on my back and everything. It was like during the filming of Entourage. I was like so awkward and weird. Like,
Did you ride a little bit? Like,
well, I didn't realize who it was, and then I looked and it's Mark Wahlberg like on my back, and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? I like spilled my water and everything. There's like people all around. It was like right on the middle of the set of Entourage. It was really funny. I mean, well, so I'll tell you the story briefly, even though you didn't ask. It's okay. I'm gonna tell the story anyway. No. I was about 3 months into working on Entourage, and I hadn't seen him yet. He was like off filming a movie or whatever. And for anyone that doesn't know, Mark Wahlberg was the executive producer of Entourage. So I was excited to meet him at whatever point I was going to meet him, you know? And I knew I was going to meet him this specific day because he was in the scene that they were filming that day. So I knew he was going to be there. So we're on the way to this golf course because that's where the scene is. It's like him and Ari playing golf or whatever. I have to preempt this by saying on the way to the golf course, I'm freaking out. I'm sitting in the car going, oh my God, I'm going to meet Marky Mark. Oh, this is so amazing. What do you say to Marky Mark? And the guy I work for, he's like, 1, you don't say anything to him. And 2, you don't call him Marky Mark. And I'm like, okay. And we get there. And pure like celebrity style, he's doing a photo shoot for Forbes magazine in this like super little room with like 100 people in there and like lights and photographers, everything. And we walk in, me and the guy I'm working for at the time, and I'm just trying to be like super incognito, fly on the wall, you know what I mean? And like we walked in like in the middle of this shoot, but we were still like, you know, being incognito. But he looks at the guy I worked for. And he goes, yo, what's up? Because they know each other. And then he looks at me and he's like, yo, what are you standing so close to him for? Because I was literally like peeled up against the guy I work for. Because again, I was just trying to be a little fly on the wall. And then the guy I work for like looked over and realized I was basically like touching him. And he's like, yeah, what are you doing, bro? So I was so embarrassed. I just left the room. And then I guess, I don't know, they maybe talked about it or something when I walked out, like had a laugh or something. Because then, so I'm just sitting there drinking water outside and telling somebody what happened. I'm like, I think Mark Wahlberg just yelled at me or something. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. And then Mark jumps on my back. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm just messing with you, man. And I'm like, okay. And even after he jumped on my back, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm just joking with you, right? Again, this is like my first like job in LA, everything. I still wasn't speaking. I was just like, And then the guy I worked for was like, all right, speak, bro, you know? And I just like exploded. I'm like, I love you, bro. Fear's my favorite movie. Fucking Good Vibrations, bro.
Oh my God.
I just like went up, but he was loving it. He loved me after that because he knew that I was a fan or whatever. And fast forward like an hour later, he finished the scene. And, you know, Mark's super cool. And like a bunch of people on the crew were taking pictures with him. And I'm standing like, again, just off to the distance on the grass, like trying to not make another scene. You know what I mean? Just trying to be cool. And Mark looks at me while he's taking a picture with someone. He goes, well, you don't want to take a picture with me? And I'm like, of course I do. And I beeline like 100 miles an hour right over to him. And I jump in someone else's picture. And that guy's like, bro, you want to wait 10 seconds and get out of my picture? So that guy kicks me out of his picture. Everyone is exploding with laughter at this point. And even in the back of my picture, I'm going to try and find it. It's all grainy somewhere. But you could see the crew in the back is like all laughing. And then when the crew photographer emailed it to everybody, he was like, oh, have fun jerking off to this, bro. He sent the picture of me with Mark to everybody with that statement. Because my smile, forget like it was like out of my face, forget ear to ear. My smile was like out of my face. So anyways,
I love that.
Yeah, that's my well, you said Donnie Wahlberg, and I told you I love the Wahlbergs, and I just got, that's how excited I just got that we went on a Mark Wahlberg tangent for 2, 3, 4 minutes. A couple quick questions before I let you go. What are you listening to now when you leave here and you go bump down in Manhattan? What are you going to be listening to?
I'm obsessed right now with this drag queen named Alaska Thunderfuck 5000.
Wait, so she's a singer?
She is a singer and she makes the raunchiest, nastiest, like good dance beat music ever. And so it's just like it's fucking wrong. There's songs like Anus.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's just wrong. So I mean, that's my honest answer. What do I always listen to? There's always Gaga, always on.
She's
You
hiding
know,
over here. I'm
she's
like
hiding.
the fame's hiding back there somewhere. She's creeping
Um,
around.
I love RuPaul. Man, I love every kind of music except for country, really.
Except for country. Oh my God, you don't like who's my go-to country man? How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way. I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. Where are you finding your music? Are you on Spotify? How are you? Are people telling you your music? Or in the gym, yoga? How do you find this stuff?
It's Spotify. I like bust it open in the morning, and we usually listen to music while we're getting ready, and then when I'm in the car, on the train, it's always on.
Amazing.
And sometimes like the Discover Weekly, just so I can like, I love that algorithm that they get. That's like they know your vibe, so
For
you
sure.
get to find all these new artists. I feel like such an old person that I'm like, oh my God, Spotify's so amazing.
No. Honestly, everybody says that. That's why I asked, because 60,000 songs approximately get uploaded every single day on across all the platforms. So it's basically impossible to hear new music. Like, I mean, some of the best songs are they're never going to be heard, there's so much. So I'm
Yeah.
always so curious how people are finding new music. And honestly, pretty much everyone says the Spotify algorithm, once you start using it, is pretty
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
I got to get back on it. I mean, I use YouTube Premium right now, and it's pretty good. Every now and again, it'll suggest me some deeper cuts, but it's not really good at the deep cuts. It's good at the surface stuff, like play one 80s song, and it'll give you like every single generic 80s song, of
Yeah.
course. But I remember being on the Spotify Premium and finding a lot more like funk songs and stuff and being like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
love it. Do you are you listening to food when you cook normally?
listening to food.
Sorry.
When I,
Good thing you caught that. Are you listening to food
yeah.
when you cook? Well, you do
So
say that. You actually did say that before, that you listen to the food, right? I
I
think you said that. See, I was listening. I was listening.
me. Yeah, always listening to music when you cook. Yeah.
Is it has it been frowned upon in some places you worked at?
Um, yeah, you can't really listen to music while you're in service because you have to listen to your chef and I
Right.
have to listen to what's going on. But yeah, during prep, it's all fucking cranked up and everyone's just like
Have you ever heard of a big chef that I don't know, doesn't care if music's being played, or is it that just too hard for communication?
it's logistically not really easy.
Right.
The last restaurant that I was a chef at in California, we had a chef's table that was inside the kitchen, and part of that experience is like you make reservations and then you get to eat with me and like I engage with you and I make you your own menu for the night. But what I wanted to do differently was I brought in my whole entire record collection and a record player,
Oh
and so
wow.
I said, okay, you guys, your first job is to pick the DJ, and you guys are going to DJ your own night. And so they would go through like, and my record collection was like weird Zydeco to like I don't know, like 1920s blues. Like it was everything in between. So it's like people would just, oh my God, I haven't heard this since I was a kid. Oh, this is my favorite album. And so it was just like having music as part of that engagement as well. It was just like another layer of just bringing an excellent experience. And I loved that. So that was like, we had to keep it pretty low because I have to logistically be able to hear what's going on.
Right.
But it was, those were always my favorite nights when we had music.
Yeah, it seems like it would get the vibe up a little bit. People would be in a lighter mood.
Yeah. The kitchen's very serious. Very
Super
serious.
serious. Gotta be
Very
serious.
serious.
But I feel like probably like Norm's Diner, they're probably listening to music, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, thank you so much. I've taken up enough of your time today. I know you're busy. So again, tell everybody where they can find you, and I'll leave links down below for anything in the future if you're listening to this in the future. But please tell everybody where they can find you.
Everyone can find me on Instagram, Chef Pink 45. Nope, that's not it. Chef Pink DeLongpre.
I was like, wait, that's not your Instagram.
Emails. Want to email me?
That's funny.
DeLongpre on Insta, and soon to be coming out with a YouTube channel, but not quite yet.
Almost. It'll maybe by the time you're listening to this, the link will be down below. So I'll leave it if it's already active for sure.
Cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you again. Come back anytime you have a new project, or if you find yourself on a new show or whatever, anytime you're welcome to come back. I'd love that.
Thanks, brother. Good talking to you.
Yeah, always. And we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much again to Chef Pink for calling in today. Definitely go follow her on Instagram. Go check out her YouTube. I hope you guys are well. Leave me a comment down below. This is Music Makers Live, and I'm going to see you guys next week. Bye for now.